Hello and welcome to another segment of Western Wisconsin Journal. I'm Jamie Johnson, the government and political correspondent. And it's that time of year. We have spring elections coming up on April 6th, and we are doing the candidates for Hudson City Council. Today, or in this interview, I have candidate Julie Heifner. Julie, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Jamie. It's good to be here. Appreciate
And
it.
you are running as challenger to Joyce Hall in District 6. And what we do with these interviews, we sent you some of the questions ahead of time, and want to just dive into those, give us a chance to talk a little bit in between, but let's just start with basic stuff about yourself, your family, your background, and your qualifications, and then we'll get into your motivations and issues, okay?
Sounds great.
All right.
Okay, so this year, my husband and I will be celebrating our 25th wedding anniversary. We have two grown children. Zane is a recent Iowa State graduate and an electrical engineer. Chloe's
He's
a
already
sophomore.
graduated?
Yes, and has started his first job. Yeah,
Awesome.
in
All right.
Lombard, Illinois, a little far from mom, but I'm super proud of him. Chloe's a sophomore in physics and secondary ed at River Falls. And 20 years ago, my husband and I very intentionally chose Hudson as our community. I was born in Minnesota to two educators, one from Eveleth, Minnesota, and the other from Denver, Colorado. They met and married at DU, where my dad was on a hockey scholarship and my mom on an academic scholarship. And my dad's continuing educational journey took us back to Colorado, where I graduated from Colorado State with a degree in business and a minor in economics. My graduate work is in leadership and leadership development, and this is where I met and married my husband, Russ, whose Air Force service took him from a farm outside of Superior to Fort Collins, where he graduated with a degree from Colorado State in construction management. So after college, I worked for a Fortune 500 as an international business development director. And what that means is I spent a lot of years traveling the globe and growing corporate businesses by finding new markets for them or new ways for their customers to use their products in existing markets. And I'm good at that. It takes a lot of creativity, thinking outside the box, cooperation from many entities, risk, project management skills, presentation skills, thorough analysis, and a tremendous amount of follow through. And these years gave me just invaluable experience and skills to communicate and collaborate, to bring people together from various countries, cultures, organizations, to guide and manage them to work together for the success of everyone. I'm a relationship builder, a thinker, a doer. I have creative ideas and know how to put those into action. So our family has served our community through starting and running a successful home-based preschool program here, through many years of leadership in 4-H, through teaching junior achievement for every grade level in elementary school, by coaching baseball and being an active leader in scouting and extensively volunteering in our schools. I am currently an active member of the Board of Appeals, and I have been an active member of Hudson Daybreak Rotary for several years now, where we volunteer our time and resources to give to nonprofits and service organizations in our community and really throughout the world. I'm now an active residential and commercial realtor with a thriving practice here in Hudson, and I want to put all that I am and to work for Hudson.
Okay. So why? Why do you want to serve on the City Council?
You know, Jamie, first of all and foremost, to give back to this community. When my husband and I chose Hudson as our home, we bought the whole package, the small town charm, the widely recognized award-winning schools, the parks, parades, the booster days, the baseball, the football, the Red Cross swim program, all of it. The YMCA, the FIPS was a big deal for me. And these things didn't happen on their own. These things didn't germinate from nothing. And just like our great country, this town was built on good people giving their time and talent, their labor, energy, and money to build these programs for their, not just for their families, but for those who came after them. And I want to be one of those people. This town gave my husband and I an opportunity to give our children a life that really neither of us had, one of safety and security and opportunity and education. And I want to give my time and hard work and energy to influence and advocate and protect the community that gave my family everything we asked for 20 years ago. So that's number one. Number two, I am running against a record that, frankly, I just don't think is very good. I'm not running against a person or a personality. I don't look at it that way. Just a record that I don't find exceptionally impressive. I've lived in this district for 20 years. And even, I think that my opponent does respond to constituent complaints. It just doesn't feel like there's enough proactive or new original ideas being brought to the table. And I feel like I can do better. I know I can contribute very actively and proactively to our district. Two more. Third, I'm running to influence what happens to that large remaining parcel of land in the city of Hudson that resides in District 6. This has never been a project or a cause or a priority by really any council member. And this parcel of land is an absolute treasure. I want to heavily influence what happens to it for the sake of our residents and for the sake of generations to come. I do not want to wait until this land has a development plan attached to it and then start to fight to maintain it as public land for our community. And I'm exceptionally passionate about this. And lastly, and finally, and simply, I've been asked to run. I've been asked by many people who feel they want better representation on the council, and I have what I consider a servant's heart. And when you're asked to serve and you can serve, you serve. So I'm trying to serve.
All right. Well, what do you see as the most important issues to be addressed overall by the city council? We're going to come back specific to your district later, but
Okay.
what are the most important issues to be addressed by the city council in the next 2 years?
Well, I think public safety has to remain number one because without it, I feel like we have nothing. We have no thriving town, no family-friendly outdoor activities, no demand for businesses or people to move here, no comfort in our own homes. I feel like whatever it is that the police force and our service organizations, such as fire and EMS, need to do their jobs, I think we need to be addressing and supporting. Second, I feel like we need to manage and measure our growth. We need to ensure that we're growing sensibly, sustainably, responsibly. I think we need to ensure we're in charge of our own destiny and not let neighboring municipalities that are growing define our borders. I think we need to continue to strengthen and expand our infrastructure so that we have the foundation that we need to support our residents. And I feel like we need to figure out how to get our library funded to a sustainable level. We are nearing an absolutely critical situation with our library. Our director has been working diligently with department heads and our legislators. And the support that she's gotten from our current legislators has been a little disappointing. I believe that libraries are vital to any thriving community. And I think that the legislation that governs taxation and funding and revenue generating limitations needs to fundamentally change. I think we have to fix the problem where it's broken. It's going to be a big job. The director and I had a really productive, in-depth conversation, which yielded some really, really good ideas. And if I'm elected, I'm going to do everything I can to help them succeed. And then lastly, I want to continue to expand our revenue base so that our tax burden doesn't rest solely with our residents and small businesses. Expanding the business park with a second phase to the south would be a great way to do this. And as I am a very experienced business person with a record of successful, managed, and intentional growth and revenue generation, and I am a commercial and residential realtor, my knowledge, experience, and acumen, I think, could be a great asset to our future.
Okay. Do you see any areas where the city could reduce spending, maybe without reducing services? How do you feel about the budget?
I kind of feel like that question is asking if I feel like they're wasting money, because how do you, reduce spending without reducing services if you're not, being really good stewards of the money that you are spending? And I really think that the mayor and Aaron Reeves, our city administrator, and our department heads, I feel like they're doing a really good job with the budget and, keeping our taxes down and providing us with services that we need. And like us, each of us, the city needs to live within its means without taxing our residents out of their homes and their businesses out of business while providing the services that we need. But when you look at the city's budget and you actually analyze what's coming in and what's being spent where, you can't help but be impressed by the job that the mayor and the city administrator and the department heads are doing. Maybe we can come back to that a little bit at the end, but I really would like to see some hard pressure go on the state, because when you look at the money that River Falls is getting, $2+ million, and we're getting 160,000 from the state, and New Richmond's getting 450,000, it just doesn't seem right. And it's an antiquated, equation that comes up with how much money we get in Hudson. And I'd like to fight for some change there.
Okay. And you think you can do that on Hudson City Council?
Well, it's really not that. I think that you put yourself, when you're on city council, it becomes top of mind all the time. I've lived here for 20 years. I have not, I was busy raising my kids and serving my family and building up my own business. And I wasn't paying enough attention to that kind of stuff to really get involved. I feel like it's my time. And I feel like when you're on the city council, it'll be top of mind, and you're going to be in positions meeting people where you can facilitate some of that change. So not really from the council table, but I think that just being part of the council will help to facilitate that.
So we're going to talk about some of those things you mentioned, like infrastructure. You said that in your priorities are important issues in the next 2 years. So do you think the city's plan for maintaining and improving the infrastructure is currently sufficient? Why or why not?
That it's a great question. I know we need expansion. I know we need upkeep and maintenance, and in some cases replacement of components and repair. That GIS system that they put in that identified, every joint and every nook and cranny in the system definitely identified some things that need to be maintained. I think that the departments that are in charge of the various areas of our infrastructure are very aware of what needs to be done. And I think they put plans in place continually to do their jobs. I think as new needs are identified, I do trust the department heads to bring them to the forefront. But I also think this is where critical thinking and original ideas for workable solutions can add a tremendous amount of value to managing the issues that we face. I have, as an international business manager, I have put some deals together with some very different people, some very diverse groups of people at the table. And it takes a special skill, it does, to listen and to bring people together. The sewer capacity study was done a while back with the improvements and the extensive expansion that the facility is scheduled to be done this summer. I think that the current comp plan says that we'll be good until 2040, or a population of 25,000 between Hudson and North Hudson. And I think that might actually take us beyond 2040. I mean, we're at 14,000 here now. I think we can keep up with street repairs and improvements in the short term, but I also think that we all know that we're going to have to spend some significant money on this in the future. So these plans remain to be solidified. And again, I feel like this is where we need good, proactive, creative, workable ideas and great collaboration to stay ahead of it. So I think our systems and our needs will continue to evolve, just like our plans to serve those needs must. We have to continually create and measure and refine the plans, because the needs of our community are ever changing. I think as long as we stay diligent and proactive and agile, we'll continue to stay ahead of it. But we need critical thinkers at every table, and I think that's an asset I can bring to the city.
So is that a no, that the current plan is not sufficient then?
No, it really isn't a no so much as it is. I think it's sufficient for the sewer section, because there are improvements that are going to be done and expansion that's going to be done this summer. I think that with the streets, we know we're going to need to spend money. I don't think that those plans are out there right now, but I trust the process and the people that are ahead of in charge of those processes, that plans that will work for us will be put in place. So it's a yes and a no, Jamie.
All right. Good answer. So what are the priorities what would be your priorities on when it comes to the comprehensive plan, future development, et cetera. There was the survey that was put out for
Yes.
citizens and property business owners to respond to. I know that it's not finalized. The goal was to have it finalized by the end of 2020, but
Yeah.
now, since it's not, it becomes a campaign issue. So what do you think about the comprehensive plan and the sufficiency of the last one compared to what the next one should be?
Well, my first priority is to ensure our future growth and development is intentional, measured, methodical, and planned. We can't let just whoever build whatever and then profit from the little remaining land that we have. We just don't really have that much more space that we can expand to in any direction without running into borders from other municipalities. Our development options are limited, and that means that the future development that we do embrace must be very carefully planned so we can protect Hudson's character. And not that our identity can't evolve, it must evolve, but we must be really considerate of making intentional decisions. Otherwise, we are going to lose that charm and character that we all love. I have read through the market study, and I have read through all of the feedback from the community in that new comprehensive plan and participated in it myself. And so the answer is my priorities are to embrace what our current residents want to see Hudson remain and what they want to see Hudson become. I saw a lot of input from residents wanting to retain a unique identity for our downtown. Completely on board with that. I saw a lot of input for ensuring everybody feels welcome here, which I believe the Mayor's Golden Rule initiative will accomplish. I saw a lot of desire for a continuation of family-friendly spaces and activities to be added throughout the city. Outdoor water features like a family splash pad, and that was a common request, pickleball courts, more parks, trails, outdoor spaces, which is another reason why I am so passionate and so passionately want to protect that public land that resides behind the YMCA and the government center. It's an absolute treasure, and it can be a treasure for our residents and for future generations. And then finally, my priority would be to continue to complete that new comprehensive plan so that we have a shared vision as a community for our future. The intention, I believe, was to have more resident input sessions for the plan, which were delayed as everything was this past year. But when you're given the opportunity to have your voice be heard in such a meaningful way, I think you must take it. You must take it. So I really want to encourage everyone to take every opportunity to participate in defining our future through their input and through their vote. I think this election is important. Who you have representing you on the council is important. And so I urge people to vote for a voice for the people and not to vote for a political party.
All right. Well, with your answer there, I had about 4 follow-up questions, but we're out of time for me to ask any of those.
Oh.
But what are your thoughts about, quickly, we'll just have to touch on the downtown, the historic district, and redevelopment in Lakefront Park.
Okay, so downtown, always going to be evolving, as with anything. If it's not moving forward, it becomes stagnant. If it's not thriving, it's withering. And I want it to remain that way, not only for our businesses and our visitors, but our residents. Historic district, I think we should maintain the historic charm, especially for 3rd Street. There's so much history there. It's so special. I vote to maintain and protect those structures. The redevelopment of Lakefront Park, we are a river town. I think we need to embrace this as our identity and enhance this glorious, rare feature that we have. I like the mayor's plan to develop a boardwalk along the river. I can imagine us all there, walking on it, fishing on it. I can see the jut outs, for people to sit on the benches and just sit and fish with their kids or their grandkids and enjoy the beauty and peacefulness of what this treasure embodies. When I first moved here, there was an article in the paper that said Hudson was a town that turned its back on the river, and that crushes your soul. The river is just rare. It's rare. And so I love that idea so that people, residents and visitors, can dock their boats and enjoy coming into downtown to eat and shop and walk and enjoy the park and enjoy everything that we are.
Okay. Last question. We've got 30 seconds, but you've already, when it says about whether the city should annex or rezone land, you've already answered with your prior questions about how we're kind of painted in a corner. We have limited options, as you indicated. We don't have much land. So I guess your answer would be that we do need to start taking into account our limited options and need to start looking beyond our borders then?
Some, Jamie, yeah. I think that we should annex as much as it makes sense to do so. And that's going to partially depend on what we embrace as our new development. There is some land that's annexed, like Carmichael annexed, and there's some land annexed out by Red Cedar Canyon, and there's land in between that's not. That doesn't make sense to me. So the short answer is yes. The longer answer is just we need to be really thoughtful about it.
All right, very good. Well, thank you, Julie, for being on the show. And is there a website or a Facebook page people can get more information about you?
There is a Facebook page. I did not create a website. There is a Facebook page, Julie Heifner for Hudson City Council, and I will expand upon these questions there. And I would love to hear your follow-up questions, Jamie, so I could answer them there too. Thank you so much.
All right, and thank you for coming on the show. And I want to thank our viewers for watching another segment of Western Wisconsin Journal. Please remember to vote on April 6th.